Welcome to Night Radio and Television Station. Here comes to the news today. On May 13th, General Secretary Phan Vũ Trọng and members of the National Assembly of the Socialist Republic of Vietnam under the number 1 constituency conducted a meeting with voters in 3 districts of Dong Da, Ba Dinh, and Hai Ba Trung. At the meeting, voters expressed their support and deep belief in the party and the state popular guidelines and decisions led by General Secretary Phan Vũ Trọng, as well as the right to design creative close to the actual situation in the fields of economy, society, security and defense, education, health and foreign affairs. Agreeing with the voters' opinions related to the party and the state anti-corruption work, General Secretary Nguyễn Phú Trọng said, basically, the big cases we have already solved. There are few individuals who have flying abroad, but we have the right under international law to coordinate with the competent forces to other countries to catch criminals. Despite the fact that some objects are opposed, reactionary and distorted, the reality shows that the fight against corruption and negativities is being conducted in the right and human way, paving the way for process and the new results in a lawful way. With the shortage of water sources at the large reservoir and the high probability of El Niño phenomenon in the second half of this year, Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính has just sent a public message to actively implement measures to deal with this. The Prime Minister asked the chairmen of the People's Committees of provinces and cities, especially the provinces and cities in the Central Region, the Central Highlands and the Southeast Region, to organize propaganda and guide people to actively source fresh water and use it effectively, save water and electricity, thoroughly prevent water loss and waste, directing specialized agencies to inventory and evaluate water reserves at the water reservoir and irrigation works in the area, calculate water balance to have a plan to operate its irrigation system and hydroelectricity. First of all, prioritizing water sources to supply water for daily life, people health, livestock rearing and key production fields. The Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development monitors, directs and inspects and urges localities to develop or implement plans to prevent and combat drought and saltwater intrusion. Standard Chartered has just lowered its forecast for Vietnam GDP growth by 0.7 percentage points compared to its previous assessment. Accordingly, in the recent announcement, Standard Chartered forecasts that Vietnam GDP this year will increase by 6.5% instead of 7.2% as it had forecast in January. The reason is that there are some external factors and the assessment of Vietnam's micro indicators and the performance is slowing down. In addition to growth, Standard Chartered also forecasts that the State Bank will reduce the refinancing interest rate by 50 basis points down to 5% by the end of the second quarter and maintain until the end of 2025. However, this unit also did not exclude the situation that interest rates will increase, especially at the end of this year, because the State Bank may focus on the financial market stability rather than growth. On May 14th, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky arrived in Berlin, starting his first visit to Germany since Russia launched a military operation in Ukraine. He is expected to meet German Chancellor and President during this visit. Announced on his Twitter account, President Zelensky wrote, "Already present in Berlin. This is the Zelensky first visit to Germany since the hostilities broke out in Ukraine in February 2022. His last visit to Germany was for the Munich Security Conference that same year, just before the outbreak of the hostilities. The visit comes as German government announced its largest ever military aid package to Ukraine to help it repel Russian attacks. Before arriving in Germany, Mr. Zelensky visited Italy for discussions with the political leaders and Pope Francis. Since the outbreak of conflict, Germany is the ninth country President Zelensky had visited after the US, Poland, Great Britain, France, Belgium, Finland, the Netherlands, and Italy. Despite the fact that Palestinian Islamic Jihad organization in Gaza still fired rockets before the ceasefire was reached, on the evening of May 13th, thousands of people in northern and central Israel continued to take to the streets to protest against the government judicial reform plan. Police deploy forces to divert traffic and ensure security for people's demonstrations. Meanwhile, although protest organizers announced the cancellation of the march planned in Tel Aviv, hundreds of people still gather in Dizengoff Square and march to Kaplan Street, where the state administration building is located. This is the end of our news today. Thanks for watching. Have a good time. Goodbye.